Hey, New Life. We're here today to just say hello and connect in this challenging time. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name is Daniel, and I'm the Worship and Arts Director here at New Life Church.
Hi, I'm Janelle. I'm the young adults pastor here at New Life, Daniel's wife.
And I'm Donna. I'm the Senior Associate Leader here. And we just wanted to come together. We've been talking and connecting on what we're walking through as a church and just working on how we can support you guys and, just have that sense of us right now. You'll notice we're practicing the healthy social distancing.
Yeah.
Janelle and Daniel don't have to do that because they're married, but we want to do that. We want to honor what, the government's recommending and what we know is actually wisest for us all right now. But as we've been talking, Daniel, Janelle, and I were saying we should share some of these things that we've been discussing because I bet they're things that people have in their hearts as well and on their minds as well. So you guys, why don't you start with something that God's been really speaking to you about that you think will help our body, our people, our family?
Yeah, so Daniel and I have been making different phone calls to different people in the church. Maybe you're watching and you've actually received one of our phone calls. But something that we noticed that every single one of us is feeling some sort of degree of loss. It's the first time in a long time, many years, where globally we're all going through something together and everyone's experiencing it in different ways. And for your daughter, it might be the loss that the sleepover is canceled during spring break, or maybe your business has like a big decline in sales and you're feeling that, or maybe you had a trip planned and it got canceled, or maybe you have to postpone your wedding, or maybe you're sick and you're really, really concerned. We're all experiencing loss in many, many different ways.
Yeah, and I think it is a really important season to really lean in and actually take time to know what's going on in our hearts, or else we get to it builds disappointment, and then what God is saying starts feeling just not so clear. So I think in this time, it's such a good time and season to actually lean in and see what are we grieving. So with that in mind, I want to ask you guys, how are you guys handling this whole transition? What are some things that you guys are grieving? Personally.
Yeah, I can share. I mean, grieving on the church end is just being together, but personal grieving, Malcolm and I, we were going to be taking a special trip for his 55th birthday leaving on Monday. So we're sad about that, but of course it'll be okay. We've had 2 of our family members laid off, which is huge. One of them is actually sick, but they don't believe that they have, not the one here in Kelowna, but one of our daughters. But the doctor doesn't believe it's the virus, but it's very scary. Fever for a week. And just, things like that have been tough to see in your own families so quickly, something affected.
Absolutely. We had a trip planned to go down to Bethel to go to the Leaders Advance, and I was so excited and ready to connect with old friends, and then just canceled and don't know when it'll happen. It's sad. It feels hard.
I think just for me, just being in the groove of things, you get so used to having people, connecting with people, and then when it's not there, you're like, oh, you almost take it for granted. And so for me, it's like just the connections that I've had with my friends, wow, it's just not the same. It's different. It's different, but allowing myself to do that. And so, and even in the Bible, we get to see, in Psalms, we get to see David, how he processes pain but how he doesn't stay there. So Donna, me and Donna were talking about Psalms, and what was that song you were talking to me about?
Well, Psalm 13, it says, "How long, Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me?" And I love that about David. He just is like, in other Psalms too, he's even more direct about his pain and frustration. But he always goes back to, but I will trust in your unfailing love. So there's this real expression of emotion and what's going on inside of him, and then taking that back to, but God, my hope is in you, my trust is in you.
And I think that with that processing pain, we just give you permission, process your pain, regardless of how you think it goes on the scale of whose is worse. No, we give you permission, process your pain. It's really important, and we just want to say that when you're sharing with people, don't feel like you need to hide it, because your pain is actually really valid, and even if it's different from someone else's. And if you hear someone processing their pain and you're like, oh, this doesn't feel as great as mine, give them permission that it's okay. And you know what, when you hear other people's stories and what they're going through, it might give you perspective from your own, and that's great.
Yeah.
Comparison is not great, but perspective is.
Yeah.
So give people permission to just let their pain bubbles rise up and touch each other without taking away from each other, but we can share openly because we're all going through it. And so don't feel like you need to hide what you're going through because it's not as worse as someone else.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Daniel, why don't you just pray for us about that?
Yeah. So, Father, thank you so much for technology, that we're able to share our hearts in a different setting, Lord. But I just pray that, Father, like that you just begin to reveal things in our hearts that we need to process. You may begin to speak and show us, and may we be able to carve out time throughout the day to actually feel the weight of some of these things, so that we can just hand it over to you. So that we can just feel, so we can grab this thing that we're feeling and hand it over to you. And so that we can just stand in your truth. So Father, there's grace for that. And I just invite you guys to do that. So that'll be a great table conversation with your family, with your friends. So you guys have a good one.
We love you.